Hey everyone! In this video we're going to be building a basic web server in Go that we'll expand upon in future videos. To do this, we'll make use of the standard library, most notably the net/http package. This package received major improvements to its routing functionality in patch 1.22. This makes it a very appealing option for developing web apps, as you can build very complex applications without having to install a ton of dependencies. And on top of that, we'll later explore embedding files in Go, which allows us to deploy our web server with everything bundled into it as a single binary. This includes everything from static assets like images and style sheets to dynamically rendered HTML templates. So to start out, I'll assume you have Go already installed on your machine. If not, the official Go documentation is a great place to get started, and I'll leave a link to that below. For reference, I'm using Go version 1.23. First thing we'll do is create a new directory and cd into it. You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name mine SharkBite just because I'm going to make the theme of the web app ocean related. Then we'll run gomod init and provide it a module name. For consistency, I'm going to use the same name as the directory name. This is essentially just the name of the entire project. With our environment set up, let's create our first file and name it main.go. We're going to start off simple and gradually expand as our web app becomes more complex. This means we're not going to be using some techniques such as dependency injection until later videos where it becomes more necessary. This will pretty much occur naturally as the package grows and needs to be split up. A major theme I try to follow when developing is not over-engineering or pre-optimizing when it's not necessary. For smaller web applications, keeping everything in a single main package may very likely be the simplest option, and there's nothing wrong with it if it works for you. But again, your mileage may vary as it will depend on a project-to-project basis. That's another thing that's great about Go. It doesn't force you into a specific way to structure your project, as the language and its community doesn't really encourage using an opinionated web framework. It allows you to only install what you need, and oftentimes you won't even need to install anything because the standard library is so extensive. Regardless, let's continue on and import the net/http package from the standard library. We'll then go ahead and define a main function. Inside, we'll create a NewServeMux, which is going to be our router. Each route will require a HTTP handler. For those coming from web frameworks like Rails, you can think of this as the controller part of the MVC model. You'll have access to the HTTP request, and you'll want to emit an HTTP response. This can be just a status code, plain text, JSON if you're creating an API, or HTML for a standard website. To keep it simple in this video, we'll just render for some plain text, but we'll soon change this to use dynamic HTML templates using the HTML/template package from the standard library. Next, we can define our first route. We'll indicate to our router that we're going to use a HTTP handler function called helloHandler whenever a GET request is made to /hello. I'm purposely avoiding using the root level path, as there's an interesting caveat that has to be accounted for. We'll dive into that later as we learn more about how the routing of ServeMux actually works. Now we can define the helloHandler function above. Every handler will accept a HTTP response writer and a HTTP request. We'll start off by running hello world to the response writer. To do this, we'll also include the FMT or format package from the standard library. This function has no return value, so we do not need to return anything. Finally, we can go back to our main function and add another informational statement that we are starting the server. We'll use port 8080. Then we'll use HTTP ListenAndServe to actually open a TCP listener on that port and start our server using the router we defined. The colon before the 8080 port indicates that we're going to open the port on quad zeros, meaning that it will listen on all network interfaces. ListenAndServe may return an error, so we'll also perform error checking to ensure that everything was successful. And that's it. Let's fire up a browser and test it out. We'll visit localhost at port 8080 and then go to the hello route and get an expected response of hello world. Let's test localhost at 8080 with the does not exist route, and we'll see that it handles 404s for us out of the box as well. This is pretty awesome. With just a few lines of code using the Go standard library, we're able to define a web server with routing capability. Although this project is very bare bones right now, we'll be able to build this into a production-ready application that is just as capable as a web app developed in any other major web framework. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks for watching.